Welcome back to the Who-kah Lounge, Transformative Tarot. We got them back out. Now, you might have to start doing some more videos on these guys. My favorite of my favorites. I got tons more in the closet. I just ain't got no room for them right this minute. But those are the ones I really like. I really, really like. And for me, those are part of my spiritual system. They're archetypes, Autobots and Decepticons. And they're connected with change. And all week, I've just been finding change everywhere, especially fives. I've been finding nickels everywhere. But that's why I chose them. And I'm going to go back to using them for the channel again, too. Maybe I'll do just a video on them alone of why I picked them as a part of my channel. But we're going to go back on this baby here. Maybe I'll back y'all up a little bit. See the whole thing. All right. Get my coffee. So back at the Who-kah Lounge once again. See what kind of mayhem we can do today. Whether you're returning or fresh off the tour boat, welcome on in. Oh man. Alright, well I guess we're not gonna get nowhere with that. What a really interesting day. Happy Taurus season to everybody. We are now in the Taurian era of the chart, of which I am. So all I did today was some spring cleaning. What's going on there? All those happy faces. Love to see it. So we're really just touching it up. And we'll be done with it. This will be done by the week, for sure. Nope, that's not the right one. Something like this. Got a couple of different blues going on here. So that room was done. I don't know, maybe we'll add some more stuff in here. Some, I don't know, some New Orleans shit. I have a pretty good idea what kind of plants I want to put in here now. Part of me really misses Philadelphia. And mostly because of the environment, the natural environment in Philadelphia is a lot different than down here. Everything down here is bigger, that's for damn sure. But I miss those red-tailed falcons and those chipmunks that used to be under the porch. And nothing no but damn crows. We got more shit, but there's a lot of crows. My God. You go to Walmart, there'd be like a gang of like 100 of them things just flying around the parking lot. But this is definitely going to be the week we go out there finally and start embodying this. I bought the bait. I got the license. So we're going to take a fishing trip out on a Pontchartrain and see if we can catch something. Yeah, I don't know. I might make that just part of the background. I want to do some bigger stuff here. Some grass. Give me this. Everybody must be having a calm day too. Everybody's walking. Where's that white at? Jeez. There we go. You guys can see the eye now. There we go. That's better. What's going on, people? Yeah, we got everybody on deck today. Finally got this mess straightened up. A little spring cleaning goes a long way. So as far as pain's concerned, we got plenty. And it is the week we're going to start clay. And I'm actually going to multitask because I've been itching for this. I have to play for a minute. It's like riding a bike. But first thing you do is get you some of this strands of metal that they use for jewelry and whatnot. And we're going to do a figurine, and this is how you do a figurine. You start with the wire, and we're just going to start wrapping this wire around. And then maybe I think I'm going to put it on a board, stationary board or something like that. So we're going to start at what is going to be, I guess, the feet. And we'll leave that much off so we can stick a board in it and tie it to the other end. But this is basically the skeleton. We'll start a leg up just like this. And that'll be one of the legs. We'll just wrap it around a couple times. So that becomes the foot of whatever I'm going to create. I don't know, looking like a smaller character. I might do another fancy. A little stand-up model. I need scissors too. I forgot about my scissors. But that's all this is for. So with these, you figure out where the knee will be about right there. Twist it a couple of times. I actually want to create a skeleton, like, you know what I'm saying, the joints and everything. If you're good, you can get some of these joints, like the head, to be on a swivel and actually have some movement in your clay figure. This is what I call clay porn. You know, it's so hands-on. And it's one of my favorite things to do. And we'll bring that a little bit bigger. So that's how that works. So already we have like a leg. And that's all you do with the wire. You just keep wrapping it around and you make yourself a figure. At least this is how I do it. I know other people have different ways of doing it. We'll make the hip round it off nice and tight at the top. So all we're going to do is keep looping it around, looping it around. Now we're in that pelvis area. We're going to do it again. And then come right back down. To where the knees would be. And we'll twist some of this so it becomes a little bit stronger. This is the only kind I had. This is really thin. Usually other ones are a little bit thicker. That's what I was looking for, but this is all I had left. go. We already got the legs. So that's the first thing you do for your clay model. We gotta get the other stuff out too, huh? Let me grab these scissors. Where are my scissors? And get you a cheap thing of aluminum foil. Just like, you know, nothing too big. Tear a little bit off. We get back to painting, but just as a demonstration. And then when you get your skeleton together, you take your foil and you start to make muscle, if you will. And you start wrapping your skeleton to make it thick. And this is the most critical stage because it really sets the tone for how your figure is going to stand when you start putting the clay on top. And this also saves you a lot of clay. So all of this is going to be underneath of the clay, acting as a with the skeleton. So already we got the shin. And you just keep wrapping it till you get it as thick as you want. Still haven't figured out who I want to do. I have like maybe 2, 3 in mind, but they're going to be human, so we could do this much. And just keep tearing little pieces and folding them together to make them nice and thick, like you're rolling one up. And start the wrapping again. So this is step 1, and I wanted to do a little on camera. Just to get the gear going and let this paint dry. This is really good for your fingers though. It's a good finger workout. And that's how it starts. Trying to think what I did in my scissors. My goodness. But worst comes to worst, because it's so thin, we can just do the turning and just snap it because it's so thin. So it's easy like that. And now we can just deal with the legs. And this is also good because we can start over again in different areas and strengthen those areas up as we lay the foundation. Which I think I'm going to use my index finger as the standard of measure here. And I'll leave a little extra here. Now, if you want to put your clay model on a stand or a fixed piece of something like wood or cardboard, you can do that too. And that's why I'm leaving this right here on the edge of the foot. Because what you're going to do is, let's just say this is it. You're going to drill a hole on the top and stick this through, and you're going to mount it to the board, so you have a firm solid piece of foundation to build your model off of. I'm kind of in the air, so I'm gonna leave it on there because I'm not sure if I want to really put it on something, because then I'm gonna have to deal with that, but that's not a problem. I think I might actually expand a little bit. And then I'll just add some more. Maybe back here behind the knees and make like calf muscles. Just ball it up. So now we're starting to get a leg. And then we take that, and then we can rewrap the aluminum foil to hold that down a little bit more. And just a nice little spiral goes a long way. And now we're going to reinforce the knees, because you don't want this thing moving when you finally start getting clay on top of it. So now we're going to double up that part right there on the thigh and bring it back around. And it helps that everything is nice and tight. As far as your metal is concerned. And then we'll just break it right there. Like I said, this is thin, so all I gotta do is 2 to 3 circles. And voila. So that's the leg, and the hips, and the joints, and the feet for a clay model. And you can really get messy with this, because you're not going to see any of this in the final result. Oops. Bigger piece of foil, and then we'll go right in on the thighs and the hips. And just press it all together like that. And when you get it to this stage, the thing about it that's really cool is now you can really bend and get your articulation together for your character. You can have the leg however you want, because you actually have joints. you know, like real joints. So this is where your posing gets done. So this is just like a leg out, you know what I'm saying? I could make a front stance and just have this leg back like such, or a running pose, you know, anything I want. But this is when you figure all that out. And all this is going to do is reinforce the figure and give the clay something to sit on, nice and snug. It saves you a whole bunch of clay. And there's something about having just a solid figure. It just seems to break easier. With this, something happens, I can go right back over the skeleton, you know what I mean? If I have to do an amendment or fix a piece of it. But if you did it with just the clay and it breaks, that's your ass. You know what I mean? You can't really go back and do nothing with that unless you got some kind of miracle glue. Alright, so there's our leg in the beginning on the first side. So that's clay figure 101. And it looks like I might have enough to at least do 2 characters. So I'll do 2 small characters. Go. Alright, so real hip bones, real everything. And then we're going to start setting ourselves up for the torso. So what I'm going to do is wrap right onto the hips and give it a nice twist, and then figure out the length of this character. We'll give it some extra rise, so maybe about right here. And then we'll start creating literal backbone. And I like to just twist. And when you twist it, it gets a lot firmer. So now we have backbone for the figure. And we'll attach it like that. And then again, we'll go back over the pre-existing one just to keep everything tight. But I want to do it in a way where it's similar to the human body, you know what I'm saying? To where the actual bones sit. That's why I like twisting for the backbone right here. And then reinforcing it again, maybe with another twist. And this twist will take up to about where the shoulders go. So maybe about right there. About that far up. But you want to give yourself a little bit more than you think you need. It's always better to work backwards. Alright, now we got the arm piece right there on the leg. So let's go back on this hip. And let's go inside of this kneecap. We'll just slide right in that little hole, and we'll twist again. Hello, everybody, coming in. Oh, the Gremlin Queen. What's going on? I saw a funny post you had not too long ago. How's everything going with your guy friend? I thought that was kind of cute. How's everything with you? Not too bad. Had a pretty chill day. Had one of my students called up with me today for a little bit, so we had some time to talk. And I finally got my nerve back for some clay. So we're gonna do some clay. And we're just taking it step by step. And low key, this is how these are made. A lot of your characters and stuff like that, especially the ones on stands that don't move, this is how they make them. And it's really easy. It's just a little bit of trial and error. But each time it gets a little bit easier. So perfect. That feels nice and thick right there. For this leg. And if I'm going to have her in a pose, I might have to use a board. And we're going to keep winding this up all the way up the leg to about the knee. And I'm going to stop there because I'm going to add some more. Making a clay figure. I had a whole bunch of clay figures when I first got here that I made. Older, some of them were beat up. Didn't make it just because of the wear and tear. But I've learned a lot since then, so I want to go back and revisit it and bring some of my characters to life in a 3D model. And my thinking on it is like this, a toy line. You know, if I was to create characters for my story as toys, so this is almost the same height, you know what I'm saying? But this is how they start. But the ones that I would make aren't toys to be played with, so to speak. Not like, you know, Transformers and all that, but like decorations, you know, little statues you put on tables and stuff like that. That's one thing I would love to do. Maybe for a stretch of time is work with a company or something like that. And now that that's on there, I'm going to keep winding it up and I'm going to seal, because I don't want this aluminum foil falling off, and I'm just going to wrap the foil now around that foil a couple times. And I'm always reinforcing whatever's near it. So now we'll go back on the hip, but now we're going to start to get into the body. So we can bring this up here, bring this across, make a little, it gets a little messy in the beginning. I know there's better ways, but learning as I go. But there's the legs already. And the beautiful thing about this part, like I said, is you can articulate the body the way you want it. You know, I can make her doing a front kick or something. Or like jumping or something like that. So that's the fun part about it. And not going to see any of this, so you can mess up as much as you need to. I don't have to worry about how this looks. I just want it to be solid. I would like this to be able to stand all by itself, ideally. And it's also a good time to start exploring. So now this almost looks like clothing. You know, somebody had like a skirt or something right there on. That could be the start of it. But we'll make it part of the structure. Then I'm going to really push this together. And voila. We can test it out. And you keep these on the back, like I said, for tying to a board, but also for standing. So as you can see, it can stand by itself already. So we're halfway home. And that's a little trick you learned from Transformative themselves. A lot of them got that little piece in the back that comes off so they can stand on their feet. So I got a lot of material I could draw inspiration from. The last one I did was really good because I did the head completely separate and you could turn the head. Yeah. It was one of the few commissions I've had with just clay. That was a lot of fun. It was a teddy bear that was a ninja. And you could put the swords in the hands. The hands were like this. So you could put swords in the hands. And then the head was like it was round, but it had like a little hole. It had a little knob at the bottom. And then I hollowed out the body so you could just sit it in there and turn it around and swivel. It's really cool. So we're going to do something similar. Oh yeah, most definitely. And now we'll start the shoulder joints. And it's not too hard if you study the anatomy, lining up the hips and the shoulders. And again, I'm just going to wrap some more. And then we'll get back to the painting. That should be dry by now. Give this a little twist. Cool. So there we go. We already got half of it, more than half of it done. So we still got a lot of wire left. And I'm going to use all of it. And the other good thing about this is the type of clay. If you get that clay that you have to put in the oven, well, you got aluminum foil and metal. So you're not going to burn the house down by drying the clay in the oven if you have to. But this stuff is air dry. I think this stuff is air dry. And that's the great thing about making this, because I can take the whole mess of clay off and start over without having to start over. And we'll nip it right there. Boom, boom. You just gotta worry about the little pieces sticking out on you. But there she is. And I guess I'm gonna do one of my female characters, just by the way the body is looking. And now this is where you bend everything. Because once that clay gets on here, it's a whole different story. All right. So we put that right there for the time being. So yeah, your startup is like, this was like what, $1 something. I think this was like maybe $5 for the wire. So $6, you can just start making and practicing the skeleton itself. And the clay varies, depends on what you like. I like the air dry, really big. The really big ones cost about $20. So to do a model, it costs maybe $30. That's not too bad. But it is tedious work. Taking all that out so I can do it again. I got some really small brushes, so we can really get into that. I want it to look like just blobs and shit. Couple clouds right there. Couple hints. Shoot, maybe on this side here, we'll take some of this out. So I can make them a little bit thinner. And you know I like this feather, we're gonna take that out. Cause it's blowing opposite the wind. Mm. So that solves that problem. And that dream catcher is going to be that dream catcher right there. So we're going to use everything we've already done and make it part of the story. And I'm definitely going to fix this fella down here, this little guy. I didn't really know how to make them the first time, but I went to the park and started drawing them. They got them over at City Park, so I did a little field trip. Oh, do I know that feeling? But trust me. It's like, don't move. Yeah, that's a rude awakening. Literally. Get that out of there too. I used to just pick up the blanket, ball it up, take it outside, and woof, just to be sure. Well, you know, it comes with the territory. It comes with the territory. People only knew what happens behind the scenes in the life of an artist. Like, I'm not even going to talk about that hot glue gun, because that is a menace if you're not careful. Yeah, we might as well get this out of here. That's not quite the foliage I want. But you know what you do? You keep a magnet around for that and just run it over the bed. It'll find it. That's one thing that's gonna find that is a magnet. If you got one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've had plenty of them episodes. Peeling of hot glue. It's like a rite of passage. Well, this is good because now the frog is gonna make more sense. Let me read it out. Let me read it out. Man, I need that regular green. I don't know. I kind of like it like that. I'm just gonna keep it right there for a moment. Let's see what I got been brushing in. Let's see what we got in the box. Really small brushes. Yes, we do. Thing of beauty is small tip right here. This is where all that nice little detail is gonna come in. And the one thing you do not do is sit this in some water. Point down. Oh my God. There we go. Oh yeah, absolutely. This is where your eyes get watery. And I'm actually a little bit ahead of myself. I shouldn't be this invested in it. And this is what I'm going to use for the string. I didn't have this before. Now we can get really small. You really get that point like that, just twist it in a napkin to the other end. Now we can really get this fairy. My God, this fairy's been driving me crazy because of how small it is. Oops, that's a little too much. Take some of that though. I got a whole box dedicated to that. I keep them for the wood projects. They go great with the wood. See if we can change your skin tone up a little bit. Maybe just a little bit different in some areas. use the background to bring her out. Yeah, that works. Let me get between those spaces. We'll get these trees while we're here. Getting into areas I shouldn't be in. Not with this brush. We will reframe. Let's make it like these. They got some really beautiful trees down here that bloom. I forget what they're called. They smell so good. We're gonna make a couple of them. And this way we can get some distinction with these trees. Oops. Should have had that on camera. Damn. All right. So now we done separated it from the rest. I think we'll bring it over a little bit more. And we got red ones too. I might just mix it with the red ones. Yeah, Damn, we've been an hour and 20 minutes overtime at night. Cool. Now we can deal with that tree and that's not bad. I'll give the tree bark some flavor. Just a little shadow. A little light, actually. Put in the patches. Leave some of the and it's Nola, so we got to do the Spanish moss. And I think I'll do that back here. Um, forgot which tree I want to use. Maybe this one right here. See, I have all this beautiful moss hanging on. Well, we'll put that to the side. I think that's a good part, a good place to just chill. Almost got you together. Now let's do that first before we roll out. And I'm not gonna look at you one more night looking like this. earlier in here. There you go. There we go. Give her some locks too. How about that? Now let's give her a better outfit. Need something bright. Hmm. Let's see what I got for you. Ooh, we got orange. I want orange. A pink. We'll save the orange for something else. This doesn't need some orange. Fairy bikini. All right, good people. I am done for the night. This was a good session, as usual. I'm just trying to figure out what she's doing right there. I don't want her just sitting there. Let her be doing something meaningful to the trip, you know what I mean? Well, that's a first. I got more caps than paint bottles. Yeah. So I was just trying to tell my man today. About rushing a masterpiece. Basically living life. Trying to get to the end or the result. When you should be enjoying the ride to get there. And yeah. We could do some more. We'll probably do some more tomorrow. I'll probably do some more for camera just to get it ready. Well, I just wanted to show some of the ins and outs of that. And eventually I'm going to get back to some Transformer reviews. Some of these characters. Because some of these bad boys are just out of control. Like this, I love Bruticus. Like, goddamn, like, look at that detail. I can appreciate shit like this. You know what I mean? You can be my paint guardian tonight. All right, good people. I've had a great time. I hope y'all have too. We should just relax and get some fun time in, right? But we definitely will be back with the clay itself. I gotta get some blades, some X-Acto blades. But appreciate you. Have a good night, Gremlin Queen. Take care of yourself out here. And anybody else who may be listening. I'll see y'all.